One foggy night, a man named Alex called 911 past midnight. He was driving across a lonely pitch-black road flanked by endless woods. The dispatcher asked what his emergency was. Alex said, "Help, please, send help. I'm on Route 47, about 20 miles outside of Milford. Something is following my car. I think it's not a person." The dispatcher asked him to slow down and explain what's going on. Alex said, "Listen, I was driving home from work after a night shift at the warehouse. The road was empty, then I saw this figure ahead of me. It is tall like 7 feet, just standing there in the middle of the lane. I swerved to avoid it, but when I looked in my rearview mirror, it was still there. And now it's chasing me." The dispatcher told Alex to calm down and stay with her. She then asked Alex to confirm if it's a person or an animal, that it could be a deer. Alex said no, it's on 2 legs but twisted, like its arms are too long dragging on the ground. I sped up to 80 but it's keeping pace. How is that possible? Oh God, the fog is getting thicker. I can barely see the road. At that moment something loudly hits his car from behind. "Alex, are you okay?" Alex said, "It just rammed the back bumper. I felt it, frightened. My taillights, they're flickering. Wait, no, the whole dashboard is glitching. The radio just turned on by itself." The dispatcher told Alex to focus, that the state troopers are on their way, and asked him for his exact location. Alex said, "I passed marker 32 a minute ago. Hurry, please." Terrified. "It's getting closer. I can see its eyes in the mirror glowing like embers. Not human eyes, and its skin, it's like bark, cracked and moving. What the hell is this thing?" After some minutes, Alex yelled that it is on the roof of his car and you could hear him screaming, "Get off my car." The dispatcher said, "Alex, try to stay calm. Pull over if you can safely." Alex yelled, "Pull over? Are you insane? It'll kill me. I shouldn't have taken this shortcut." Regretful, locals say this stretch is cursed old logging road where workers vanished in the 90s. Fearful, I thought it was bullshit, but it's real. The cops were already on the route, about 5 minutes away. The dispatcher asked him to describe the figure if he could see it clearly. "Like any clothing," Alex said, terrified. "No clothes, just shadows and that bark-like skin. Faces elongated like a skull with teeth too sharp. It's smiling. Oh Jesus, it's looking right at me through the back window now. How is it holding on at this speed?" Then he said again, very terrified, "It's breaking the glass. I can feel its breath. It's cold and rotten." The dispatcher told him to fight back if he had to, and asked him if he had any defensive objects in the car. Alex said, "Just my phone. Wait, the glove compartment, there's a tire iron. But if I stop, tell my sister I love her. Maria Ramirez in Milford." After that, the line was filled with chaos, shattering glasses, a guttural roar that is inhuman, deep and echoing. Alex's screams mix with wet, tearing sounds. The phone tumbles, capturing muffled thuds and growls. The dispatcher yelled, "Alex, Alex, respond. Troopers are almost there." Silence falls, broken only by faint dripping. Then a low chuckle distorted, not Alex's voice, and the line cuts dead. When the troopers arrived, Alex's car was found with shattered glasses and blood scattered inside and outside the car, but no body was discovered. One night, a man named Brian Keller called 911 just after 3:14 a.m. He sounded confused, not panicked but confused. The dispatcher asked what his emergency was. Brian said, "I think something's wrong with my wife." The dispatcher asked what happened. Brian said he woke up on the couch. The house was quiet. Too quiet. He went upstairs to check on her. That's when he saw her. On the bedroom floor, not moving. The dispatcher asked if she was breathing. There was a long pause. Then Brian said, "I don't think so." The dispatcher told him to begin CPR. Brian didn't move. Instead, he said something strange. "She looks scared." The dispatcher asked what he meant. Brian said, "Like she saw something." The dispatcher asked if anyone else was in the house. Brian said no, just the 2 of them. The dispatcher asked if the doors were locked. Brian said yes, all of them, from the inside. There was a pause. Then Brian said, "My hands hurt." The dispatcher asked why. Brian said, "They're bruised." Another pause. Then, "And there's blood under my nails." The dispatcher told him to step away from his wife. Brian didn't respond. The dispatcher called his name several times. Finally, Brian whispered, "I had that dream again." The dispatcher asked what dream. Brian said, "The one where someone is in the house." Silence. Then he said, "I always wake up before I catch him." The dispatcher's voice changed, calmer, slower. She asked Brian where he was standing. He said, "Next to her." Another pause. Then Brian said something very quietly. "So why are my footprints the only ones in the blood?" The line went silent. You can hear movement, fabric shifting, slow breathing. Then Brian said, "Oh." The dispatcher asked what was happening. Brian replied, "He wasn't in the house." A pause. Then, "He was me." The call did not disconnect. It stayed open for 7 more minutes. No more words, just breathing. Police arrived 8 minutes later. The front door was locked, chain latched, no signs of forced entry. Brian was found sitting against the bedroom wall. His wife was deceased. There were no defensive wounds. The case was ruled a homicide, but detectives reviewing the call noted one detail. At 3:18 a.m., 4 minutes into the recording, while Brian is silent, a second voice can be heard, very faint, whispering, "Wake up." One night a woman named Emily called 911 from her apartment. She said someone was standing outside her bedroom door, not trying to open it, just standing there. The dispatcher asked if she could see them. Emily whispered that she could only see their shadow under the door. The dispatcher told her to stay quiet and lock herself inside. Emily said the lock had already been turned, from the outside. The dispatcher asked her to repeat that. Emily said it just unlocked itself. There was a sound on the call, slow footsteps. Then Emily said, "He's closer now, but I don't hear the floor anymore." The dispatcher tried to speak. Nothing came through. Emily whispered one last thing. "Why did you stop talking?" The line went silent. Police arrived 6 minutes later. Emily was found alone in the apartment. Bedroom door wide open. No signs of forced entry. No footprints. No suspect. When the call was reviewed later, investigators noticed something disturbing. The dispatcher never stopped responding. Emily's phone recording cut out every time the dispatcher spoke, as if something else didn't want her to hear it.